we discovered that Copilot was more secure than ChatGPT when you have it enabled on your instance of Microsoft. A lot of companies, counties, cities, states are using Microsoft products. And what we want to know is that, hey, we already have this AI capability within our current systems. Why aren't we using that? Why do we have to go back out to ChatGPT and come back in? Now, there is still value in ChatGPT. A lot of things it can do that Copilot can't do easily, but still can do. You just got to get to it in certain ways. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is how to use Copilot to reduce our RFP time and to get started doing this process. It's a lot of fun. And like I said, we're going to see that it makes a big, big difference when we do things that we've been looking for. So it's been cool. It's a lot of fun. And we're going to keep on going here. Replace. Let's go ahead. Get started here. Never punish the function when we want to keep moving here. Share my screen, brought it up. Perfect. Okay, so what if the fastest way to cut your RFP time right now was already in Microsoft Word? You can reduce time by 50% or more. No new software, no IT approvals, no waiting. Copilot already exists in your desktop applications. And today we're going to show you how to turn it on and make it work for you. It's going to make a big difference in how we do things. And we're going to unlock it so you can save that time. And as we always know, that when we use AI, what we're seeing is time savings is the key value for enabling AI and using AI to help you be successful. We're going to follow the sourcing process. And today we're going to get through the first part of the sourcing process: recognition of need, a specification of need. And this is going to follow our 3 webinar series we have going over the next few weeks to introduce people to our summer AI program, where throughout the summer, we're going to be doing weekly classes like we've been doing since February, but we're inviting more people to join us to help enable supply chain professionals, procurement professionals to use AI to get the job done faster, sooner, and easier than we've ever done in the past. We're going to follow the scale use case methodology. That methodology is what we've been using: state the problem, collect the data, state the problem, collect the data, analyze the AI platform, launch the prompt building process. So we'll go through that, and then we'll actually execute the project. And the reason we follow this methodology is by using this methodology, you are able to apply any AI platform to a use case. So it's more generic, that we're able to look at things, from say, okay, I have a business problem, I have a use case issue, and how can I use AI to do this? By following this methodology, it enables us to decide what is the best AI platform for us to use. Now, here we're talking about state the problem. So what exactly is the problem when it comes to starting the RFP process? It really comes down to, what's the requirement? What's the specification, the thing that you want us to get for you, right? And we got a use case. We're going to grab one that we leveraged last week when we were actually in the class and used it there. It's like finding an excavator for cemetery services, right? So we're going to use that today, and we're going to just start with a simple email that comes in, and from there, we're going to walk the process all the way through to developing a draft SOW, statement of work, that we'll talk about for next week. We'll actually build out evaluation criteria and bidding evaluations, those type of things. Again, all inherent within Microsoft 365. So when we state the problem, identify the specific procurement challenge, define the metrics, and identify who the stakeholders are. And why procurement work is slowing down: RFP drafting has been manual and inconsistent and backlog prone for years, right? And through different systems, we try to make it faster. We try to make it able to better support our organization. But, at the end of the day, sometimes it's just manual, a lot of cut and paste, a lot of, research time, a lot of manual research time, all these things. And AI is here to help us get that research down to very small levels, right? We can get things done much, much faster. What we saw last week is we did an entire RFP development process for a person that was actually in the room. We grabbed a requirement off the internet. We said, hey, excavator, I need one that we walked all the way through the process, market research and everything. And we did it in about an hour. And so I asked the gentleman, I said, hey, how long would this have taken you otherwise? Or how long did it take you? He said, it took us about a week to develop this RFP. And you could have reduced this down to a few hours in one day, which means he could have published it sooner, to mean it could have been filled sooner for their needs, right? So that's the value of using these platforms and make it work for us. Now, as we get started, some things to note. If you look around the Teams portal here, we've been trying some different portals, and I'm really liking this one, especially for this webinar output, is you'll see an area that says Q&A up towards the top, either you may up at the top or towards the bottom. It's called questions and answers. Put your questions there because that's where I will see them, right? If you put it in the chat, based on chat, you can see that, things get pushed down, whatever it is, but Q&A is something I'll go to when it's time, whenever you have a question. So as I'm going, I tend to go a little fast. Just write down your question. As soon as I see it, I will answer it and bring it into the conversation. Okay. And the real barrier isn't AI, it's access and trust. And what are we talking about there is access to AI and the trust in the platforms, right? And that's one of the reasons I've really gotten excited about Copilot in Microsoft 365 is because most of us already have it. Now, it may not be turned on, okay? And I'm going to show you that here in a second, right? We're going to actually walk through this. How do I know I've got the right version? How do I have the useful version? How do I know this is going to work for me? We're going to walk through that. But most likely you have it and your IT just needs to turn it on, or you just need to start finding it and using it so you can pull it in and start using this in your workflow. How's that going to help you? It's going to help you a lot when you start looking at vendor information. You start bringing in RF responses or RFP responses and proposals, and you want to analyze those proposals, right? You want to say, okay, let's start doing it. Well, now you have it in a secure system, which is going to give you that compliance piece that you've always been looking for. ChatGPT, remember, is an open system out there. And we're going to go through that too as well. We're going to see how that works here in a second. Okay, so the next step, we got to state the problem, collect the data. We're going to identify the data sources. And in this case, it's going to be an email from a user. It's going to be the regulations and the templates that we use on a regular basis. It's going to be market research. It's going to be a Teams meeting transcript, which we're going to pull in. We generated one that would resemble a meeting you have with a case user, and how do we use that, summarize it, and turn it into a statement of work. Okay, organize it, make sure it's good data. That's one of the key pieces of using AI, is that the data you're using is correct and trustworthy, right? Is it the correct data that I need? Is it coming from a trustworthy source? And is it up to date, right? So once you know that that data is good to go, then you can use it within your AI platform. Okay. How do you currently define requirements? A lot of us, we go to meetings, we get an email, we get maybe some kind of intake form, we do a meeting, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to simulate a meeting. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. Different emails. I'm going to show you how to, with Outlook, you grab Copilot, you say, summarize all the emails from James Rivera about the excavator. It'll go find all those emails and bring them together in one place. So you don't have to go searching for them all. Copilot will pull that stuff in for you, which is really exciting and saves a ton of time. If you have intake forms, you can put them on your shared drive or your OneDrive, and then you can go in there and you can pull that information there, and if you go and find it, pull it into your Word document as you're using Copilot. Again, we're going to do that today and show you how to do that. Okay. What does stakeholder input look like in the real world? Ambiguous requests, right? Information gaps. I know you want an excavator, but what kind of excavator? What does it mean? And maybe conflicting or duplicate requirements. You may have multiple departments requesting the same thing, right? And then you start to put all of this together, right? What Copilot and Word can do with that input, it can summarize and extract key needs. We can pull that information, we can draw it in, then copy paste right there and pull it right into the Word document that we have. Structure them into a working draft based on a template that we have, and we grab the statement of work guidance from the state of Oregon. We pulled that in to help draft our statement of work to make sure it's compliant. So we're getting to that 85% solution within seconds. It's really cool. And then it also finds compliance issues and like, hey, what's really missing here that we need to figure that out. And it'll show us that when we ask the Copilot. So we can work all this within Copilot within a Word document to work through it. Now we're going to assess the platform. Which platform should I use for this process? A lot of times we would go with ChatGPT and Project and different other ChatGPTs within ChatGPT. We have to cut and paste and move files all over. And the benefit with 365 or Copilot is that we are able to just reference those documents and I'll go out and find them and bring it in. Go out and find them and bring it in. Okay. And here we go through, and again, ChatGPT versus Copilot. ChatGPT general purpose, cloud-based, not always policy compliant. Okay, not always policy compliant because a lot of IT cybersecurity folks are concerned about the public access to the information you put into ChatGPT to get the information you're looking for. Now, there's still value in using ChatGPT. Do not get me wrong, right? But when you're looking for that compliance piece, especially once we move out of the RFP process, we put it out there, we're starting to receive vendor-specific information, which your state, city, county, company may consider proprietary and sensitive. You pull it into Microsoft 365, which has that security, then you are more likely compliant. Again, always ask your IT. I am not an IT guy, nor do I play one on TV. Make sure you ask your IT guy that you're good to go, and that way you can be good to go. Okay. You may have to do, other people have to ask, and of course, data privacy concerns. Now, Copilot, it's already in your documents that you're using to generate these final documents. You already have templates in Word. You already have templates in Excel and PowerPoint. Okay, runs in your approved IT environments. It's already approved. Everyone's familiar with it. We just added one little tool here that's going to be able to help you. And most importantly, right here, I want to highlight that pretty quick. All right, is that it's secure. Okay, it's been a lot of fun figuring out how secure Microsoft 365 is, so long as you have the right version. And we're going to walk through that here in a second. Okay, now here's the difference between ChatGPT from a macro view. I grabbed this from Corsica Technology to give them credit for putting this together. And even though this is kind of an eye chart, you'll get these slides in the membership area. So the members, make sure to remember you get all these slides after every presentation, all the slides, all the prompts, everything, the recording as well. So we get all that information here. Okay, but what this shows you, the main piece here is that a lot of it's already inherent and is secured, where ChatGPT is something you have to kind of cut and paste and move a lot of files around here. A little bit price difference, but that's okay. That's okay. There's a little bit of value in there as well. Okay. Which version of Copilot should you use? All right. So you have Copilot, which is the free version, which is very similar to ChatGPT, right? You just go to Copilot, you can log in, you can start using it. It's limited, right? You pay the $20 version. That's going to give you a little bit more. But then you want to make sure you have Copilot for Microsoft 365, which here is the key. It's already integrated into your apps. And those apps are already connected. They're already connected. So you can grab something out of an Outlook email and pull it into a Word document. You can grab something out of an Excel spreadsheet, pull it into a Word document, export a Word document into an email, those type of things. Now, these are some other versions that are out there, and we're not really worried about those today. But just to let you know out there, you want to make sure you have the Copilot for 365. And again, I'm going to show you how that looks here in a second. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to walk through all these different ones after we get through this quick presentation here. Okay. Where do we find Copilot? Okay. You go into your Outlook, you'll see this little, we call the waffle, pull that drop down, and this is what it looks like right here. And you should have Microsoft 365 Copilot. If you don't have Microsoft 365 Copilot, it just says Copilot, you're not going to have the correct version for what we're going to use. Still usable. Don't get me wrong, but it's not going to have that instance security that you're looking for, right? Where do you see it on Word? So this is Word, and right here, you'll see Copilot. You just click that, open it up, and then you can start working things in this area here, okay? This is Excel. Here's Copilot as well. Again, you open it up, you start using it. You can use it for analysis. You can help it create data dashboards, all these things. You can ask Copilot to help you, and it'll work you through it. Okay. And then this is Teams. This is Teams, and there's Copilot here. And what Copilot does, just like it's doing in this meeting that we're talking about right now, it's recording the conversation, it's transcribing the conversation, it's going to give me a summary with action items from this conversation. All that's going to be put together, and that's going to help you move from email to Teams meeting to statement of work, right? Boom, boom, boom. All right, it's all inherent. You can drop from one to the other to the other. Now, the next L, SCAL, launch the prompt building process. This is where you build out your prompts, and we follow our prompt, refine, deepen, gist process. And that process starts with a general prompt. Then we go a little bit deeper. Then we refine it, go a little bit deeper, and then we come up with a gist. All right. We're going to draft scope of work from meeting notes, which we're going to develop. We get an email first. Then we process and analyze it, set up a meeting. Then we build out a statement of work, and then we make sure we review. Key point, always, 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 humans must review the output of the AI platforms. Do not assume it's correct. Make sure it is giving you the results you're looking for. That's why experience is key. Knowing the result you're looking for is also key, and then using AI to enable that result faster. Okay, now here's the Copilot workflow that we're going to work through here in a second. It starts with an email. From the email, we set up a Teams meeting. The Teams meeting is recorded and transcribed. We have notes. We take those notes and we turn it into a draft statement of work. We put that on the OneDrive where we have templates and references that we can grab and say, review this document in accordance with this referencing, and we're going to show you that. Once you have a draft statement of work, you email the customer and say, hey, here's your draft, review it. They should return it back to you, and then you finalize it. Notice all of this is within Microsoft 365. You don't have to bounce in and out of the platform. You can use it inherently. Now, where ChatGPT is a little bit different. You're going to have a customer interview, whether it be an email, transcription, a Zoom meeting, some kind of transcription, right? This would be Teams meeting or Zoom, whatever it is. Then you grab those meetings, you're going to pull them into ChatGPT, upload your references, your templates, and your documents, which we show you how to do. We've done that before where we built projects, right? And this would be a similar process where you'd build a project to draft your SOW. Right, your statement of work. Then you finalize it. Once it's finalized, you will download it from ChatGPT, upload it as a Word document, and then send it to your customer. So those of us who may not be using Microsoft 365, there's also a process that you can use. The only thing you're going to miss out on is it's going to take a little bit more manual work, cutting and pasting and dropping in files. Additionally, that security is not there. At this point, it's okay, right? We're just developing a statement of work. There's really nothing sensitive yet. We get to sensitivity when we bring the vendors in and their specific information, right? And then you start to go through an award or an evaluation process. That has to be secured. And that's where Copilot is going to be helpful because all of that's going to be inherited. We're going to talk about that in week 3 coming up here, okay? Now, we'll go through the prompting strategies for public procurement. Make sure they're neutral, risk-aware phrasing, always prompt for missing data and compliance concerns. Summarize, here's an example, summarize stakeholders. And I have that, those prompts as usual. Again, all the members, you guys get these prompts in the membership area so that you can copy, paste them, and use them and edit them, again, edit them to your specific use case, right? Okay, so we'll put that through here. All right, come out here. Then we execute, implement the solution, measure the results, refine the approach, and then share best practices. That's where we're going to walk through this entire process. What a completed SOW draft should include: background, key deliverables, timelines, measures of success, any constraints or limitations. All that should be within our statement of work, which we use a SOW guideline from the state of Oregon. We grabbed that, we pulled it in, and we're going to use that to draft our SOW today. Okay. Now, before we get started, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them in the chat or the questions and answer, either area. And then I'm going to get ready to shift over and we're going to do a overview of 365 and walk through all the different things here. So let me go ahead and stop sharing this. Go ahead and think of any questions. Go ahead and bring those in. And I'm going to share my screen here in a second. All right, share my screen here. Share the entire screen. Pull this over here. Share the entire screen right here. And we're going to share. All right. Okay. So can everyone see my screen? All right, very good. If you see my screen, go ahead and just pop up in the chat, say, hey, Randy, we see your screen. Just to make sure we're seeing everything here. So, okay, so once you log in to Microsoft 365, and this is the web-based version, okay? You may have a desktop version, which is all good. Then where you would, thanks, Miles, I appreciate it, let me know. Good to go. Awesome, thanks. You know, you may have it on your desktop version, which means it's inherent throughout your system. It's on your server and everything's put together. Okay. Here, we're just going to go use the web version. And then from there, if you have any trouble, you need help, just let me know. I'll be happy to hop on a call with you, just kind of walk through to find out where your stuff is. So over here, this is our waffle. We always call that a waffle. Here's all your applications, right? Now, this is a Microsoft Business Standard account that includes Copilot. You may have a Microsoft 365 basic account, which means you need to pay for and enable Copilot for your platform. Talk to your IT guys to get them to enable this within your instance. Okay. The reason I'm doing these presentations, one, I'm super passionate about procurement using AI, number one. Number two is to show you the value of having these AI tools on your system because it saves you so much value. So you can drive the conversation, right, with IT instead of waiting for IT to tell you what you can and cannot do. Okay, so again, here's the waffle, here's Copilot, here's my Copilot 365. You click that, it opens it up here. Okay, what you see right here, you have the work version, which is contained within your instance, and then the web version, which then goes out to the web, just like ChatGPT or Perplexity, right? It's going to enable the web here. Okay, so you got work or web. Now you can add content. This is where you can find PowerPoints. You have people, if you're looking for a person, files. All of these files are within the OneDrive, which I'll show you here in a second. Meetings, so Teams meetings. Those, if you had Teams meeting, you could search for them here. Okay, that's why naming convention is very important. We're going to talk about that second here. And then emails. This is the emails where we're talking about here. Just pulling them up, and now I can reference that email in this chat. Okay, in addition to just using freeform. Okay, here's some suggested prompts. Here's a new conversation way up here. This tells you you have enterprise data protection as it applies to this chat, meaning this is within your enterprise instance of Microsoft 365. So that's showing you the security is there. And Microsoft has that level of security. They're approved in many different ways. So you know that security is there. Drop down, recent pages, about, send feedback, settings. Let's open up the settings. Different agents. You can build these agents. That's a different conversation for a different time. We'll actually do that during the summer because there's a lot of value. You can actually build agents to respond to your emails and all these other different things right here. Okay, so that's right here. Okay, then you also have settings down here, but these are settings for 365. We don't need to go into those. Okay, here are your agents. These are agents. Let's go ahead and look at these agents. These are agents that have been built and are available for you to use within 365 Copilot. What that means is somebody else went out and developed a capability that you can now use within Copilot. Here you can look at popular, built by Microsoft, these different ones. The ones I'm going to talk about here are Researcher, which is similar to Deep Research in ChatGPT. Analyst, which does the deep data analyst analysis in your spreadsheets. So if you have 12 months worth of data, this is my camera doing all this stuff. Okay, so you have 12 months worth of data you need to process. You're going to use this agent to help you do that. And the visual creator, that's the thing that creates the videos and pictures and all those other good things right here. Okay, so that's agents. Come back over here. We get a researcher. Just come over here and we can do a deep research. What we would do here, for example, we would do deep research for our excavator once we get to that point. We're not there yet. That's something I would use it for. Once I receive my proposals from my vendors with all the pricing data and all that other stuff, I would use this because here it's going to analyze spreadsheets. And then when I want to make funny pictures because it's late on Friday afternoon, or I'm getting ready to do a presentation and I need to come up with some graphics to make it more entertaining and lively for my people, then I can come in here and I can create some images here. This is all inherent within your Copilot instance, right? Okay. Here we have teams. This is the teams we have here. This is where you can schedule meetings. And what I want to show you here, for example, this is the meeting we're in right now. This is a meeting I was doing a little bit earlier. Here are calls you can have. You have a phone calls, you can place calls. Your OneDrive. It's where you can go in and look at all your different files. We're going to go through that here in a second. Here's Copilot again. You can grab things and work through that. Okay. What we're looking at here is you have a meeting, right? So when you have a meeting, you're going to get all this data. What was said in the chat? What was shared? What's a recap of the meeting? I didn't have a lot of talking because I was just testing. Who attended the meeting? Breakout rooms. If you had a working meeting, speaker coach, Q&A, any questions and answers, whiteboard if you had to go through and draw things, if you had any polls that you were asking the audience, all that information is going to be here, right? Now, let's go back here, come back here. Okay, this is us right now. See that? Okay, so we come here, right? Here, got it. All right, cool. Okay, now I can look at this meeting and I got all this data, right? Test, apps, transcript right here. I can download this transcript. Here's a transcript. I can download that. I have mentions of people, any AI notes, any notes that you took. All this stuff will be put together, which you can then leverage to bring into a statement of work, right? Now you have that interview, right? You send an email and we go through. Another instance of Copilot. Here's our OneDrive. Now, what I'm going to include in the members area is this, the structure I'm getting ready to show you. So I go into my files and like, how do you keep all of this stuff organized, right? So this is the organization you want to have. Now, this is an example. This is an example. You can organize it however you want. But the reason you want to have good organization in your share drive, this is the OneDrive. So this is your personal OneDrive. You can have a similar structure in a share drive for the procurement department. So everyone can leverage the same files or have access to those files when someone goes on leave or leaves for a holiday or whatever, especially coming into summertime. How do we organize this? So we have procurement projects, templates and tools, reference materials, and then Copilot inputs. That would be any summaries or analysis or anything to help you put those in here. Okay. What procurement projects are is I put the date and the title of the project. Then we have stakeholder intake, which you could pull in. You could have meetings, meeting transcripts, right? You have SOW drafts, all right? You pull those in, okay? Supplier research, all in one place. Evaluation criteria, again, all in one place. The contracting, the actual contracts, you're actually drafting out the agreement. Approvals and emails, you put all that in here, save it. So all that, the entire procurement project is in one place. Why is that valuable? Let's go back here to Copilot. And we're sharing and we're looking for content. Remember the files? Okay. See all this information? It's all right here. Okay. If I come in here and go excavator, all right, I start to be able to pull that information into one place. I can find it, right? I get an email from somebody. Hey, I was looking for what's the status on this thing? I can pull that in here. People, meetings, emails, I can put all that together. But you got to have good naming, file naming, discipline to make sure that it all works out. Otherwise, it's going to become a combobulation of a bunch of stuff and it's not going to be organized. So as you're starting to establish this framework to use AI. And you may already have a lot of this done already. Now I'm just showing you how to put it together. All right, is you have a good naming convention so it keeps it all into one place, one file for that particular procurement that you can pull in all the time. Now here's our Outlook. And I created an instant just for us to learn how to use Microsoft 365 for procurement. So I created an inbox, Outlook, and we're just going to start from the beginning. Okay, way down here. Let's close this out. Okay, just got an email from James. Hey, James. Okay, we need a compact excavator for a cemetery project. Superintendent wants to handle this quickly since maintenance and some repairs have been delayed for months. Basic needs. Good to go. Let's set up a team meeting. Okay, so what I did is I went in over here. I scheduled a meeting with James somewhere on his calendar. Now I can go in here. I can meet now, set up a meeting. Because it's all inherent, you can actually coordinate the time schedule. You can do all that, set up the time. And then once the meeting's over, I'm able to go into my file. Where do I find that? Go chat. Here's my meeting. And then I can come down here, grab the transcript, put it all together. And what I did is I went together and went ahead and put it's together for me here. This is our team's meeting. We'll open that up. And this just goes through a transcript. It's simulated transcript of what people said and how they said it. Okay, Sarah, James, Marcus walked through this. City-owned cemetery, and he's going through all this process. It's a fairly short conversation, and from here you say, okay, good to go. I have my team's meeting. Now, what do I do with this? All right, so I come over here, I have my team's meeting in my Outlook. Now I need to summarize this. All right, I was playing a little bit earlier. We're going to pull that, we're going to close that out. So we're going to start from scratch. Pull up a document, boom. Well, my document, go over to my Copilot, come down here to add, and now you can do add, or you can do this and do Teams meeting transcript, right? If I had a meeting that had that title, I'd be able to grab that meeting here. But I didn't do that this time because I was just simulating something. Great. And what I would do here is I go into my prompts. Let me pull up my prompts. All right. Come over here. These are the prompts again. These are what you get when you join the membership. You get all this stuff here. All right. So go into our prompts. It said based on the email, but we're going to use the based on team meeting. Based on the following email, based on the following team's meeting, create a first draft scope of work for a sourcing event, include purpose, deliverables, and performance metrics and timeline. Okay. As always, when you see these prompts, make sure you edit them to your use case and what's actually going on. Here we have an email. We didn't get on detail there. Instead, we had a meeting. So now we're going to pull that in here. We're going to come over here, Control V, based on the following team's meetings transcript. See if I can make this bigger. There we go. Okay. Based on the following teams meetings transcript, create a first draft scope of work with sourcing event, include purpose, deliverables, and performance metrics. Now, before I say go on this, we received an email. From an email, we scheduled a meeting. The meeting was, say, 15, at most 30 minutes long, right? That's the time we put in so far. Now we're going to come in here, boom. It's going to read this, right? I didn't have to copy and paste it. It read this transcript, and it's going through, and it's putting together the scope of work based on the meeting. Okay, this is good. Great. Now what I want to do is find my SOW guide writing. Okay. Okay, then what I'm going to do here, so I'm pull up my prompts again. Okay. Find this draft SOW, use bullet formats and align tone and formal procurement documentation standards in accordance with the SOW guide. Control V. All right. Okay. Refine this draft SOW to use bullet format for deliverables, ensure performance language is measurable, align formal tone presentation standards, and make sure it's in accordance with SOW writing guide attached. Boom. Okay. So this is where the compliance piece comes in. You know, how long would it take you, unless you were an expert on doing this, years and years and years, you'd come in and know exactly what's right and wrong. Here, I can grab this and say, write it in accordance with this standard, right? Okay. So far we went from this purpose, deliverables, performance metrics, timeline. Okay, now we get a little bit more deeper. Okay, a little bit deeper. All right, good to go. Now what I would say, okay, and according to the guideline, okay, review the SOW in accordance with the guideline. And tell me what's missing and how to improve it. Now, already I'm starting to use the regulation, right? Let me show you where the regulation is. Well, that's working there. Okay, so when I came over here, my projects, and I pulled those in here. And what I have here is I have templates and tools. Here's my statement of work writing guide. That's where it found it. So I only have to upload it once. I know where it is, and I use it one time. And these are other templates I have from our Minnesota work. I pulled all these in here. Okay, the other regulation that I have here is reference materials. Okay, our procurement handbook, IT compliance guide, samples. These are actual templates we could use, right? Here's sample policy. These are policy letters directly from the state of Minnesota, pulling those in. So I don't have to worry about this, right? I can reference these to make sure I'm compliant from the very beginning. Okay, now look at this review. It says, okay, what's missing? Project description, overview of services, background information, statutory authority, applicable standards and general requirements, project deliverables and tasks, additional considerations, acceptance standards, delivery schedule milestones, definitions and acronyms, style guide for SOW language, example of improved SOW. Here's an example of how the SOW could be improved. Now it goes through and it gives me all these different pieces here. Okay. Say, okay, great. Rewrite the SOW and include new information to fill the missing information. No. Okay. So from here, it goes through and it builds out the statement of work in even more detail. So now I've got purpose, I've got background information, I've got the statutory authority, I've got deliverables in more detail, I have the performance metrics, okay, my acceptance standards. It's just working through that from really getting to a final piece, right? Definitions and acronyms, working through that. So that's good enough for today. Now, if I had, and I knew what you were working on specifically, we could go into that process. Take that, copy, paste. Okay, nice documents, good enough. All right, and we're going to save it. Scope of work, SOW for mini excavator. Version, this is actually version 3. Boom. Okay, cool. So this is good. Okay, good to go. Now come back over to our prompts. Okay, what are key details missing from the SOW and what we require for competitive solicitation? Suggest questions I should ask the stakeholder. Copy, paste, pull those in. Okay. Now we're seeing what's missing, right? So going through, it's telling us what's missing key details. All right, very good. Again, we've been working on this for probably 20 minutes, and we're getting close to a pretty, something that's actually we can send to the user and we can use, right? So we can walk through that process. And here's some actual questions. Okay. All right. So of course, what I'm going to do, it's through, and it's just telling you what it's referencing here. Okay, based on what's missing, rewrite the SOW for a final draft. Make sure to include details. Okay. So again, what it's not doing, right? It's not going in and it's not changing this. It's giving us the changes over here that we then copy and paste to go in here, right? Now, how many of us are actually using Copilot right now, right? So that would be a great question I would ask. And how much value is this adding to your day by knocking these out? Now, if I had your templates, right, we would have those in there. Copilot would learn those templates and would get better and better and better and better. And so you wouldn't have to do this as slowly the first time. It's fast, right? But not as fast as it could be as you start to exercise this more and more. Okay. Perfect. Definition acronyms. We're going through right now. It's a 2-page document. Go ahead and take all this. Right. Control C. It's like, oh, we're just going to replace it. Yeah, we're just demonstrating this, right? Okay. Now I get to a 3-page document. So more details, more details, more details. Now, what I'm going to do, save this, right? Okay. Write an email to James to look over the SOW and answer the questions listed above. Okay, so now he's writing the email, right? So I've got this saved, putting it together. Okay. Going through, it's writing it, going to tee up our outlook here. Again, this is one of the things that we struggle with consistently, right? We don't get very good requirements, and we're trying to pull that information out of our users. Well, here we're giving some work back to them, right? So this is what we're going to do that here. Okay, so now nice long email. Okay, take all this information, create copy, set over here, come back over here, and then we would write a new email. We would send it over, and then we would have that answer for us right here. Boom. Okay. We have that, bring it over here, and we attach the document. So for our document, which is here, that's attached. So now it's attached to the bottom, and then we would send that off. I'm gonna send it to me because I'm James, believe it or not. Okay, let's go back up here and request feedback. And we would send this over to James. And we send it, right? So he would send it, he would get it, right? They come together, and then we would respond, come over here, and then what I'll do is I will play James here. Okay, respond to the following questions on behalf of James. Now, most likely, you don't know where that is. If you have a smart James, right? He doesn't know how to answer these questions. So teaching him or her how to use ChatGPT to get questions answered speeds up the process. They still need to review and validate, right? They have the expertise to already know if it's correct or not, right? We're putting this together, okay, and he's answering these questions through this together here. Okay, cool. Nice. Thank you very much, James. I really appreciate all that hard work. Over here, Control C. Let me go ahead and pull up my response. Over here. All right, cool. Here came in. Apply. We'll send it on over. Wait for a second, and then it will come in. Why is that important? I'm going to show you why it's important. Okay. Over here, so that why is it? Okay, so we come over here. Arrive. Ta-da. So now it's arrived. Here we get to play, right? So we come back, Copilot, summary of Copilot. So now Copilot's going to go through and summarize this information. I'm just going to go through and summarize it so that we have like, okay, you sent James this, provided a response regarding this, there. Okay, good to go. Now I'm going to do is take this, go back over to my Word document, pull this, right? Emails. For this one, I'm not sure if it's going to pull it up or not. I mean, I've synced up yet. So, okay, yeah, that's not right. I'm going to stop it. It's not going to stop for me. All right. Well, what I can do next is I would pull in this example. I'm just going to copy and paste it here. Okay. Here's James' response. So, rewrite the SOW to include this information. So he's going to go through and already he's going to bring it all in. He's going to start to create that statement of work, revise it, make it better, and it starts to fill this information in. Okay. Which is all really good to go. Okay. So again, how much time has it taken us? Not quite an hour yet. And the only thing that would have delayed it differently is the time for the meeting, the time to wait for James to respond back to the answers of the questions, right? It's going through, getting even more detailed SOW. From here, we're going to talk about doing a little bit more research using our new friend here in Copilot. We're going to see what kind of result we get with that. All right. Okay. Here we go. It's much faster than I can type for sure. Give a clear timeline. Almost nothing. Even more detail, right? Okay. We're doing that. Let's go ahead and speed this out. Three-page document. All right, now go over here. Get all this information. So a little bit more information, a little bit more detail. Okay, so this was what we would finalize, and then we're here we say write an email to James with the final SOW to be used for the RFP. Okay, and then what that is here we're going to save it. Fine. Okay, and pull that up here in a second. Okay. Now, while we're waiting for that, okay, so we're coming over here, go to Copilot. Remember I mentioned here we have researcher. Okay. So what I would do is I would bring the content in, all right, and I want to do the final. Come back. It hasn't quite synced up yet, right? It's not quite there yet. Save that. Come over here, home, excavator. Save it yet. All right, now we're saved. Cool. Okay. Got that document. We're going to Copilot, and we're going to do the research we need to do for this. See if I pulled it up yet. Come on, get my file. Let's go. So it's not as fast as I am, which is okay. Because we're going to just skip and cheat. We'll download it so we can keep moving forward. Download it. Okay. And now what I would do, and this is the first time I've used this, is okay. Review the following, the attached SOW, and we need comprehensive market research about excavators detailed in the SOW. Develop a research plan for me to review before you begin. Okay, so here I'm going to come in, pull this up here. We're going to upload this from my device. I'm going to grab my SOW. Here we go. Pull that in. Okay, we come through. It's absorbing that. We're good to go. Everything's in, and we're going to go. So now this is the deep research function that we've used in ChatGPT several times, right? And it goes through this deep, extensive market research. And what this is going to help us do is to get solid market research to identify appropriate vendors, to further scope out our SOW to get more specific information, and to do all that research. So here it says, I reviewed the attached SOW. I reviewed the attached SOW for mini excavator to ensure I understand your request correctly and to develop a comprehensive research plan. I have a few clarifying questions. And it's asking me specific questions. Are you looking for market research specifically on mini excavators that meet the detailed SOW, or should research include a broader range of excavator? Now, what I do whenever I see this, I go and I copy these questions. Now, here, if you'd like me to proceed, tell me to go ahead and I'll use my best judgment. If I had no idea, I might go ahead and use this, right? But if I want to keep the AI on task, I'm going to answer those questions to the best of my ability, or I'm going to ask James, right? I'm going to go through that process. Here, I'll say, stay focused on the SOW. All right, because I don't want it to go anywhere else. Okay, do you prefer research to be presented in detailed report format? Would you like a summary? Detailed report. Focus, are there particular aspects of mini excavators that you want to prioritize in the research? Look at the SOW. Okay, should the research include comparison between different models and brands? If so, what criteria is most important for comparison? Look at the SOW, right? Because that should have all been in there. We would answer that question. Are there specific sources or types of sources you want to be included? No, include as much as you can find. Okay, and then boom, gets to work. Okay, and away it goes. That's going through. Now, this is moving pretty quick. Okay, usually what happens, beginning the research, starting to pull together relevant sources, because when we use ChatGPT, it would take about 5 to 10 minutes to get through this, right? So it's starting to go through. And if we want to look at it, we go boom, okay. It's going to show us the process that it's going through. Now, what you can do, right? Imagine we're doing this, right? We had this project, has RFP. This is one of 10 I have to get done today, right? I pulled it in, I set up this research, boom, away it goes. I go grab another one, boom, and I do the same process to this point, and I get that research going, right? Then I launch that one, So I've got all this stuff going, and I can go to meetings, I can eat lunch, I can do other strategic thinking work, I can finalize other RFPs because this research doesn't take my time anymore, right? It's all going through, okay? And it's working through it, okay? And what we'll do with that research is we'll drop it into our file, right? Which we had here is our market research. And it's our project files here. And this is our market research, supplier research. It's going to go right in there. Boom. And we'll add it right there. Okay. So let's see it's going through. It's looking at some things. Good to go. And that's continuing to work. Okay. So what are your questions up to this point? Because we've gone through the process here. Go ahead and stop sharing. So we've gone through the process. We've looked at the requirement. We've had a meeting for the requirements. We've gone through, we've refined the requirement with the user. At this point now, we're doing market research to get more information about the data. We'll grab all that information, bring it in, okay? And then we'll set up, summarize it, send it to James and say, James, what do you think based on this information? Hand him all this research or the bulletized format, and then they would give us feedback. And we'd be able to work through it a little bit more, okay? And work through that. Okay, so it really is kind of going through the process over and over. And just, again, you're saving time. We haven't even been working on this for an hour. I spent the first 20 minutes talking, right? I was talking about all this stuff and I did it. So less than 40 minutes, we've built out a solid SOW that we can start to use to build our RFP. And then from here, again, the next week, we're going to talk about evaluations and how to use all that stuff. Again, in the Microsoft 365, that's the security. That's when you can start to use that evaluation process and finalize that in here. And that's going to be another fun time, Okay, let's see. Let's go through here. Well, it's still working. Share my screen. All right, over here. Okay, as you can see, what it's showing us here, okay, this is the thought process it's going through. And that way, if you're like, well, where did you come up with this information? How do I know what's correct? It's telling you its thought process. As you can see here, it's starting to pull out the specifications from the actual SOWs, looking at different models that are out there, okay? It's going through and working through the whole process to put together a process, finalizing report details. That was not even 5 minutes. Let's see how valuable this data actually is and how we're going to use it when we get into the process, okay? Oh, now it's going through. It's now it's looking for data, going out there looking for other things that we need to worry about. Okay, so let's bounce around a little bit more and how to use these different products and processes and how Copilot can help us work through this. And how is this different than ChatGPT? So this is our ChatGPT. What I would do in ChatGPT, for example, this is what we did in ChatGPT. We did excavator market research. And we actually had a deep research project where we went through and came here and it built out and it had all this market research that it pulled in. So we're actually going to be able to compare the research that we got last week to the research we get today. All right, let's see here. Okay, so we go through, there's all this information here. How we doing? All right, so it's still working. And look at the detail it's getting. It's getting really into it. And that's what they want. We want to get that level of detail for our organization. So when they say, why did you pick this one over that one? Or even help our evaluators pick the best one that's out there and go through there and go through that process. Here we went through, and I think it was like 20 pages of data once we copied and pasted all this stuff. Better market analysis for this requirement. Come over here, pull this up, just so you can see what it is. What I liked about it, okay, we have is, 2,400, it's not more than 2 pages, obviously. Go on down. Gotta love computers. 28 pages of detailed information about excavators, more information than I would ever want to know. And, when it did this last week, it took it like maybe 10 minutes to put all this stuff together. And it gives them real detail into it, which, somebody that knows excavators, this is important information, right? They have that information for putting that together. Okay. So over here, Copilot, man, it's still getting out there. It's still going, looking at pricing options. I'm excited to see what this is all about. Okay. And then, like I said, and this is the process we used in ChatGPT. So we had to go in and out, copy, paste, bring all this together. Here's our project files, our template. And here's our instructions that we had to build out. Okay. And this is okay here. So for those of us that may not have Microsoft 365, ChatGPT is a good option for market research, right? Because none of it's sensitive yet. And so you can use it. And it may be worthwhile comparing different market research to make sure you got a complete and comprehensive package when you put it together. Right. Finalizing recommendations. We'll see what we get. He may already have it done for us. Okay. But then this is where ChatGPT comes into play. And that's where I like to use projects to do these type of things. So you can have an excavator market research project. You could create an SOW project where you come over here, name it, we'll call it the SOW project. where you create all these files or all your templates, all your references, all this goes into these project files here. And then you create instructions for an SOW writer, where you would tell it exactly how to write the SOW with those instructions. And then all you would do is drop in the specification with the market research, say, write an SOW for this thing, and it would do it perfectly every single time because you've trained it to do it the right way. Is this making sense? Okay. Kind of coming to the top of the hour. Still working through it. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is really cool. You see, it's one of the reasons I like to do this live, so we can actually see the time it takes and the actual results you're getting from the AI tools and putting it all together. Brand reputations, there we go. Okay, so more here, Teams meeting, we got that. Again, remember the Teams is going to be key. Teams you can use not only for meetings and transcriptions, but you can also use it for phone calls. So you can set up a phone call and it'll record that phone call and transcribe it. How is that helpful? It's helpful because you don't have to sit there and try and take notes. You can focus on questions and the conversations that you're having. So you're talking to a vendor and negotiating. So instead of having to write down every single note, you record the conversation and then you can extract the appropriate information out of that conversation. Now, I understand there are laws against recording people and all those different things. Make sure you're compliant with your state laws so that you don't get in any trouble, right? At the same time, what I would say is, unless you're going to use it for, court, who knows? Transcription may be very helpful. I use it all the time. Always ask, can I record this? Absolutely. No. People are happy to take it right there. Okay. So we're getting there. Over here. All right, cool. Okay, what questions do you guys have right now in regards to this process? Now, we're going to continue to grow our 365 knowledge, how to use these different tools, better prompting, how to connect the apps, how to get better results faster in this secure environment. And there's a lot of other benefits for using Copilot as well. So do you have any questions right now? Any questions whatsoever? Okay. Very good. All right. Okay. Mail right there. Another thing you do is pull in our mail. Let's check this out. Go over here. Let's see if it pulled in our mail yet. Okay, so here it's starting to pull in. So it took a little bit of time for those emails to sync up throughout the system. It wasn't instantaneous, which is okay. I mean, we always get up, go to the bathroom, get some coffee, give us some time. The other thing we want to pull was, that was one thing we wanted to pull, was that email. And then when we were doing our research Copilot here, we want to be able to pull, okay, we're in the wrong thing, go back to our Copilot, right? I go here, add contents. I go, oh, see, work versus web. So I need to be on the work side here. The work side is going to allow me to pull in these other files. And then it pulled in the final here. Okay. So again, it wasn't instantaneous. It took a few minutes for it to sync up across the applications. However, note that all these applications are confined in the same document. So you don't have to copy and paste and move things around. Everything is inherent. Just give the system a little bit of time to sync up so it can find it. Meetings, files, people, emails, all these different things to start to pull these different pieces together. Okay. All right. Man, this is getting some deep research, which is exactly what you want. Again, imagine if you as an individual had to go find all this information, right? I mean, just imagine how long it would take you to do this extensive research to find all this information, to then take back to your customer and say, hey, here you go. In addition to everything else you got going on. Again, this is valuable. This is good stuff, really good stuff. Okay, let's walk through the case study. Here, again, state the problem. Stakeholders submit vague and unstructured RFP requests via email or chat. Procurement staff must turn that into a clear, detailed, defensible scope of work. Identify gaps, clarify needs, structure SOW from fragmented input. Collect the data, stakeholder emails, and meeting summary, Outlook and Teams. Any budget or timeline documents, Excel or Word, any templates, and we've seen those, how we were uploaded those, and how to reference those. We just grab them and we reference those. Assess the platform. Here we're using Word and Copilot, Outlook and Copilot, and Excel and Copilot, helping us develop this information. Then we build out our prompts. Okay. Good thing about prompting, the better your prompt, the better your results. At the same time, as you're starting to learn prompting, you can ask the GPT, the Copilot, ChatGPT how should I structure this prompt? What would be a better prompt? Can we improve these results? And it'll help get you there. And then you create the scope of work, draft, send it to your leadership, and then it's editable and loaded into your OneDrive, ready to go. All right, here we go. Market research, mini excavator for historic cemetery. Introduction, project background, SOW requirements. Very good. Suitable mini excavator models. Caterpillar 302, OKG TB225, a JCB 19, a Kubota U17, other models that work. Comparison key specifications. All right, it's giving you some very good information here. Well within our budget. Detailed comparison by criteria. So now it's starting to give you that detailed comparison, right? Now I know you want humans to make the decision, but here you're starting to get some better information here. Brand reputation, post-sale support. All right. User feedback and reviews. That's very good, right? How long would it take you to find all that stuff information? Maintenance and common issues. This is the stuff that, wear and tear, those things that aren't talked about. All right. Industry trends and market insights. Advantages and disadvantages of each candidate model. Recommendation and conclusion. Based on the findings, the Caterpillar 302 emerges as the strongest candidate to fulfill your city's requirement. Okay. So you're really close to an answer here, right? To where you can build out this criteria to post it to get something that you're looking for, right? So we're good to go. Nice. Okay. Now from here, we're good to go. Got this document. Got this. And pages. Add to recent pages. And we don't have any. Thanks. Edit in pages. So what pages are just this information that's available for you, as you can see here. Okay, open in Word, working on it. And then we're going to save that document in our market research. Open in Word. Okay, cool. Good to go. We want to save as file. We'll make sure we move it into our project documents, mini excavator, supplier research. And we're going to save it right here. Boom. Go through how many pages was this? We got 17 pages of information. Yet how long would it have taken us to go and find all this information, compile it into a format just like this? This took about maybe, I think, 15 minutes to get it all done. It all worked out, right? Now, what do we do with it? Right? Torrent or SOW, right? Let's see if it's going to pull it up. Files. I give it a second to sync up, right? We have to give it a second to sync up here. Let's call this our market research. There we go. Market research for many. Market research for many. Already available. Outstanding. Boom. All right. Now, based on the market research, let's develop an evaluation criteria for me. Well, here, what I would do then is I would go in for the RFP. So we have an RFP. So the next thing we want to do, okay, we want to actually build the RFP. So we're going to go in here, create this, and I would create a new document here, over here. I would start here, say, okay. And again, what would I do? Copilot, hold up here. Now pull in my documents, right? I got my files, I've got my final, I've got, what else do I have? Okay, I got this. I got my, okay, start typing. We want to find our market research, pull that in. Okay. Say based on the SOW and market research, create an RFP in accordance with the RFP instructions. Where we find those, RFP, template professional. Now, the difference is this is for professional technical services, not for a thing, but we're going to use it anyway. Right here, instructions that include an evaluation. So, all right, cool. Now it's getting to work, right? Okay, goals, scope of work, deliverables, performance metrics, goals, concepts. Okay, proposal instructions, all proposals, proposal evaluation, general requirements. List all that out. Okay, cool. Review the RFP against the template against the template until what is missing. All right. Now going through the template, it's looking. Oh, here we go. This is what's missing, right? All right. This is what we have in there. This was important. All right. Search requirements. Good to go. Great. Add these to the P and P, right. Come through, put it all together. And then this will be the end for today, right? When we have an RFP, the next thing will be to send that RFP out and receive responses from our vendors. And then next week, what we'll do is we'll receive those responses and then we'll evaluate those responses inside our system here, which again is secure, confidential, which is exactly what we're looking for, especially in that evaluation piece, right? The evaluation, negotiations, and contracting piece, all that needs to be confidential up until a certain point. Okay, cool. Proposal evaluation, outstanding. All right, cool. Get all this. Yeah. Now, I don't know if this is your template. I'm sure there are other templates. You can just put that in there. And if you had those templates, you would use those and it would build them out there. It's all good to go. Yeah, that was for our mini excavator. There. So let's see. There we go. It's saved. It's awesome. It's in there. Okay. And then I'll say, great. Create an evaluation tool for us to use. You see, it creates an evaluation tool right there. All right. So then as those come in, and go out to here, here. Cool. Look at that, which we will tap into next week. All right. So again, today we went over a lot of information. We talked about specifically how this can save time, right? Instead of taking weeks, days, hours even, you're compressing it down to minutes. You heard more of me talking than actually seeing the AI do the work, and you're seeing that work happen here more and more. All right. So again, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions or anything, just please send me comments. Be happy to answer those specific questions. And if you want to get involved in our weekly program, where every single week we go through these, every single week we go through this type of scenarios. We grab use cases, actual use cases, we bring them in and we walk through the AI tools to help us enable us to get this done faster and more efficiently. We did last 3 weeks, we used ChatGPT extensively. As we go into the summer, we're going to be focusing on Microsoft 365 and how to combine all these apps and use the different AI platforms to get the work done. So if you have any questions or more or interested in that, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to provide information for you. With that, hope you have a wonderful weekend, a Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy yourself, have fun, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.